Hello, I'm Rudy.
And I'm Kelly Castro, and we are Conscious Partnership. Thank you so much. We honor you, we honor your time, we honor your intuition to hit play and to tune in for this message. There are no sides. That is a radical thing to say, especially during these times, and we're aware of that. And so, our deepest prayer and intention is to truly transmit the information that is from the heart that we have brought into the practice of our own partnership and our practice in working with other people in their partnerships. And for us to deeply remember the ultimate connection of who and what we truly are and our connection to one another.
Yes, and this is such a powerful, powerful message that there are no sides. And it's something that we deeply believe and put into practice in our relationship every single day. Because when we get triggered, it's so easy to look outside of ourselves and look at that's the reason why, rather than looking at inward and saying what is being triggered, so that we can have an experience of like there's not a you versus me situation. And that's ultimately the biggest message of this video, is that it's not about her versus me. It's about me versus me. Like, what is coming up for me, so that I can look at my partner and say, there are no sides in a situation when we're triggered, and that I can see what's coming up for me. And then doing that work so that when we share, there's not an experience of resistance to really getting to the heart of a message of connection.
Whew, and that's so beautiful, so powerful, and so not what we've been trained to do. And so may we all meet ourselves and one another with the deepest compassion for the layers of protection that arise when we do feel afraid.
Yes.
And to remember that all of those layers of protection, including and especially maybe the ones that scan to look for the threats out here and to determine and collect evidence as to why you or them or it is not safe, and why I'm over here and you're over there and there's separation. That's a brilliant strategy to create a sense of safety. And so as we look at these things and we have these conversations, it's so important to bring that piece in, that compassion for self, for these layers of protection that keep me in essentially safe from you or anything else. And you know, when we're creating conscious partnership, when we're really in a space where we're ready to start looking at what's underneath those layers, and we're doing that work on our own, because that's our own work to do, is to see what's underneath the armor. We each have to be willing to show up for that part of the journey ourselves. And then the part two is when you have two people who are willing to do that work, then we get to co-create something that's so beautiful and so safe and so intimate and vulnerable with one another. And this is where we get to really see the reality of that there are no sides.
Yes.
Right?
The experience
The
of
experience.
it. Oh, such a beautiful experience, right?
Yeah.
We wish it for everyone, like what we have worked toward so hard, like so diligently in our partnership and working with others, of like trying to really believe and feel the experience of, man, there are no sides. Yes, we're triggered, and yes, there's stuff to look at, but we're not enemies. It's not against each other. We're having to face things for ourselves, yes, but we get to do it together. We get to do it vulnerably. We get to do it openly. We get to do it with love, with grace, with respect. That's what we want. And think about this. You know, the reason why we believe in our work so much is because the world is struggling. The world is definitely struggling with picking sides, who's right, who's wrong, you know. And when you think about it, are you practicing in your own home, no matter what you look out at the world and say, yeah, I believe in this side, you know? If you're doing that, then really look and question, do I have some of that stuff that comes up in my own partnership? Because that's the place that we want to work on it first. If you have any desire to actually take action out in the world and fight for a cause, the cause should be out there after you work on yourself. so that you can have unity in your partnership, so then you know how to create unity out in the world in whatever way you're meant to.
I love that so much because it really starts here first. Unity first here, unity here, unity there.
Yes.
And, kind of taking that macro for a moment and not spending too much time there, but just when you look even at the state of the world in this moment, right? There's so much polarization, so much what feels like big division. And when you drop down below the information, below the facts, below the evidence, below the names and the titles and the labels, when you drop into the heart, if you ask either side what they're actually feeling, it's fear, it's confusion, desire for safety.
Yeah.
That's the heart. And it doesn't matter where you look. That's the heart. And so when you look in partnership, if you really get out of the storyline, if you get out of the who's right or the evidence and the battling of the information, because this is what we see over and over again, and we've done it. So we've seen it in ourselves, and then we've seen it in like many other partnerships, right? Is this getting stuck and getting wrapped in that loop and that cycle of arguing over details and arguing over facts and perceptions, great, because it's not even facts, it's like interpretations of experience, and then they're going at each other trying to be right. And if both people in that moment can just step back and again drop below the mind, drop below the layers of protection, drop into the heart, into the vulnerability, what's that raw emotion? And the raw emotion, what we see over and over and over and over again, just like when we look right now at the state of the world, it's the same. It's the same. And
Absolutely.
How many times? And it's not always necessarily scared and confused in the desire for safety. I mean, ultimately, that's always there when someone's triggered. It's a desire to feel safe again. But there's different flavors of it that show up. But there's never a time where we don't do the work with a couple and they're literally mirroring heart to heart the same experience.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. And that's what the magic is. It's what I love about this work.
Yeah.
This part, when you realize that there are no sides, what you can get to, what is available is that heart-to-heart connection, that we're actually experiencing something very, very similar.
Yeah.
That is our deepest desire for you guys, deeply. So if you're watching this and you're struggling with picking sides in any part of your experience in this world, really take this in, practice it within your own heart, practice it within your partnerships and people in your life so that you can have that experience. We love you guys so much.
Bless you.